Hey, sweet souls, it's DTO in the flow, and I'm wanting you to know that it is another moment to remember who we are, our breath, recognizing that our actions absolutely have an impact, not only on our lives, but an impact in the world in so many ways. And today I get to interview an extraordinary soul that I got to meet when I was living in San Diego County. And the both of us are in different locations now. I'm in Costa Rica. Many of you have been checking out some of my adventures. And today, Andrew Belinsky is on the 5Q interview show with DTO and the Flow. And Andrew Belinsky, for over a decade, has been building a community of men across the globe who are committed to the path of personal growth. Drawing on his background as a business coach, yoga teacher, and music facilitator, he has led hundreds of men to unearth their truth, inner genius, and passion through his online educational courses and masculine rites of passage. During the COVID crisis of 2020, Andrew was deep in a creative cave. Can't wait to hear more about that. Stirring the cauldron, developing the masculine embodiment facilitator training and certification program. It's a 6-month course for men ready to step into authentic leadership and launch their career in men's work. Geared towards men with spiritual services, this program brings together Andrew's 20 years of experience in teaching yoga, music facilitation, business development, and sociology and men's work. Andrew, his wife, and daughter homestead in Central Oregon, where they can be found hiking in the forest and making music in their sacred studio. All right, without further ado, let's bring on Andrew. How are you, brother?
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure. Okay, so everyone that is watching this on the live stream, what's really great about this technology is you get to comment at any moment and know that we are streaming on a variety of platforms, whichever one you are on. This is on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twits, all the places and spaces. And it's in the psychic field of the cosmic connections, wherever those may lie. And if you're watching this on the archive, know that we will be putting links in the comment for you to sign up for Andrew's programs if you have any other questions afterwards. I know that Andrew's awesome at following up. And if you need anything in your life, I feel like you're going to hear a ton, especially this is geared towards all the men out there that are choosing to step into leadership. And we would love to know where you're located. Andrew's in Central Oregon. I'm in Costa Rica. And put in the comments, place where you're at. And then feel free to comment, ask a question, and sharing is caring. I'd love to have you hit the share button right now and really get the message out there. And if you don't feel like words are what you'd like to communicate with, then of course, comment with your favorite emoji. That's what's fun. Emojis have its own other form of communication out there. And a little side note here. Oh, wait, we got one coming in. Oh, we have Sarah. You're in Illinois. Great. I live now in Costa Rica, but I was born in the neighboring state of Iowa. So that's great, Sarah. Thanks for being here and for listening in today. Okay, well, let's get started. This is a 5Q interview show. So let's begin with asking Andrew, number one, when did you begin practicing men's work?
Yeah, Dave, you'll appreciate this. I began practicing men's work in pretty much my darkest moment. I was living in New York City in 2012 and pursuing my music career full steam, losing myself along the way, losing my soul along the way a bit. And I had a friend who invited me to a groom's in his bachelor party. And when I was kind of the odd man out, and when I arrived, he was that group of men was unlike any other men I had ever met before. They were having deep conversations. They were drinking, but not to excess. They were skinny dipping, but without the homophobic remarks. They were embracing, and I was just so captivated by this new kind of masculinity that I'd never experienced before. And so I asked him, I said, what's the deal with you guys? Like, are you guys like religious dudes, or like, what's the deal? I've never met men like you. And they say, oh, well, we do men's. And we actually have a men's gathering coming up, a men's weekend coming up. Is that something you'd be interested in? And I was like, dude, whatever you guys are doing, I want to be a part of it. I need more men around who are healthy, taking care of themselves, treating themselves with self-respect. And yeah, if you can have some of that rub off on me, I will take it. And it was on that weekend, it was a Mankind Project weekend, where I had my first experience with a masculine rite of passage, which is this ancient way of taking the young boys who are ready and bringing them into maturity and having them be witnessed and processed by the elders. And that was my first time ever having that experience. So I'll never forget that. And I'm grateful to all of the men who've been keeping tradition alive and bringing it into the mainstream now. And that has been my inception into the work.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I love how your intuition and your spidey sense and your observations of how it's possible for men to connect and unite and support and really have that core of intention that allows for that expansion and growth and acceptance to take place. That's wonderful. I love that. So now that you've had the men's work, as you said, you went through your own personal rites of passage, you felt activated in the way that maybe you hadn't felt before. There's always this turnkey moment. And you know this as a yoga instructor and as a yogi, there's the student and the teacher within at all times. And so question 2 gets more into what inspired you to become the teacher?
Yeah, so I've been teaching. I studied education. I got a minor in education from UC Berkeley. And so I've been a teacher for over 15 years now. And I've even showed up and facilitated and taught with some of your kids at one point. That was a really wonderful experience in Fallbrook, California.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and I don't know, it's always been in me. And I'm just a 5. And part of my soul searching and recovery and healing from my 20s was a yoga practice and getting my 500-hour yoga teacher certification. And it was just in timing when I came through that program. It was pretty much right away that all of a sudden my girlfriend and I at the time conceived a child. So I was already teaching, and I was starting to get into facilitating men's work and bringing the men's work and the yoga together at that point. And then boom, all of a sudden I was about to become the head of a household and the provider for my family. And so it kind of put me in the pressure cooker, honestly. And it gave this stark moment where it was like, oh my God, like I'm not going to be able to support this family teaching yoga, running around yoga studios, real talk. And
yeah,
also, my wife, who actually was kind of more of she had spent more time as a coach in her life. The plan was to have her kind of be the breadwinner and me to deal with the child. But after like a couple weeks of trying to work that out and her going through, pregnancy and all the pains and woes of that, it became pretty clear that it was going to be me. And so she literally transferred over to me her coaching program. She was in this program called Rich Empire Babe. And she was like, hey, honey, I'm going to see if I can transfer this over to you. It's time for you to take your skill as a yoga, as a men's work facilitator, as a coach. I was already doing some coaching at the time. Put them together and provide for this family. And so that there was that moment where, it was like, what? I was looking dead in the face, the decision, like, you're going to be working an office job in a cubicle for the rest of your life, or you're going to step courageously into the work that you were born to do. You're going to go into debt, hire a coach, do what you need to do in order to bring your medicine forward. And so in a sense, it was a conscious choice that I made on my own. And in a sense, it was also something that I got thrown into the fire about as well. Mm-hmm. And that was about 4 years ago now. And I'll never forget that moment that I was standing with her, with my wife in a grove near our house, just like, oh my God, like, this is it. This is do or die for my dreams. Like, will you partner with me? Will you trust me that I will put in the time and energy and the effort? Can we call on the men who show up, get guidance from me, and be supported by us and step into their light along with us as well? And that's what we did. And that's what I did.
Well, that's fantastic. And I love your background already being a teacher and knowing the power of education and sharing and all the different skill sets that you have. And yeah, that's what's wonderful about life, where all of a sudden, based on the calling of the moment, meeting the moment, trial by fire, going in and saying, I get to do this. And also, to provide and to not only provide for your family, provide for your own personal growth, but what we're going to talk about later today is how you're offering men an opportunity to expand and to grow. And that's what's beautiful about whatever it is that you've been teaching. And now you get to shift the focus into this really beautiful calling. So let's jump into question 3 here. When did you begin offering global events? And I'd love to share at this moment a picture of some in-person events that you've done in different places. And now, of course, there's a lot of virtual offerings you have. So maybe you want to share the origin of, like, when did you first start teaching men's work? For people out there that has never ever heard of the term men's work, most people think, the band from Australia, Men at Work, but what's men's work, And what is this picture representing, and what kind of ritual is this? Because, I'm a small town kid from Iowa, and some people that are probably watching this know that it's not always something that's in our wheelhouse of even understanding. So maybe you could back up a touch and just share, like, what kind of rituals take place, and then also how you began to offer these on a global scale.
Yeah, absolutely. So our culture here in the USA and in the Western culture, we're one of the only cultures in the world that does not have a masculine rite of passage experience, where the elders take the boys when the boys are ready and take them out to the mountaintop or to the lake or wherever we take them and teach them about what it is. I'm Jewish. We do have a rite of passage for men. It's called a bar mitzvah, and there's a bat mitzvah for women as well. And we do have to study. We have to learn another language and show up and give a speech in front of people, kind of comport ourselves well. But that was largely missing. What was largely missing from that was the emotional intelligence piece. Talking about how to treat women, talking about, the different kinds of masculinity, talking about our relationship to our manhood and our sexuality. These very important pieces of information, pieces of wisdom that are missing from modern day sex ed, that are missing school, that are missing from the homes, where many fathers and grandfathers aren't even present in the first place. So this is an practice where men get together and we talk about emotions, we talk about what's sacred to us, we talk about morals and values, and then we work processes together. We help one another break through in stuck places in our lives. We talk about intimacy issues, and we come together and we experience brotherhood in a healthy way. There's a wide variety of different kinds of men's work. The men's work that I bring through in my programs, my first program I created was Jedi Husband Training, which is much more about relationships and your yoga practice. and how those two pieces and components connected with men's work can create a huge shift in your world and really accelerate your evolution as a human being. From there, I've been focusing more on helping men step into leadership, not only in their relationships, but also in their businesses and their careers. And I've it's interesting going through the hibernation of lockdown and experiencing the challenges of lockdown. I was very fortunate to have a little river to sit by. I sat by the river and I asked for support and help because everything slowed down, business slowed down. It was a very scary time. What came through very clear was work with the king archetype, and this is also something that we learn in these men's work programs are about the archetypes. There's a king, there's a warrior, there's a magician, and there's a lover. And so what came through very clear was focus on king. And my initial reaction, like whoever was saying whatever was saying this to me, is like, I'm not ready. Like I'm not a king. I'm not ready to step into that leadership position. But the more that I spoke with men, the more that I leaned in, I was hearing that other men were ready to step into their power and step into their leadership and step to their guidance and mentorship positions as their work. And so as I reflected, I saw, oh my goodness, I am the one to help these men create men's work businesses, to put their teaching skills, their facilitation skills, their healing skills to use and make more impact in their communities and serve clients in a deep and profound way and step into their dream work and into deeper service for the men in their life. And so that's what I've been stepping into. These are programs that range from weeks long to 6 months. This masculine embodiment facilitator that you're seeing here, this is a 6-month journey, and this is teaching men all they need to know in order to really become men's work facilitators. And this is everything I know and everything I've learned, and it's a very robust training for men who are serious about making the courageous step to become a servant of men and to become a leader of men.
Wow, I love that. And I feel, and I've had this conversation so many times, especially as of late. I feel that on the planet that there's a new calling for us to lead within. As what you said, you were by the river, you were feeling into the source energy, the great spirit. What is it that we are here to do? What's calling us forward into action? And leadership is exactly the word that consistently is being right in front of us. It's right in front of the mirror every day. We choose to be leaders of our own lives. We choose to be leaders in our families and our communities. Of course, if you choose a leadership position at a company or in a small town, in a village, on a global scale, in a country, there's all these forms of leadership. And I feel a lot of us have been inspired and we've admired so many leaders. And I feel what your program is doing for masculine embodiment is calling forward men that may not even be clear that they could even look in the mirror, say to themselves, I am a leader. I am a creative, powerful, joyful leader. Right? That's your declaration, who you get to be. And as we know, you and I both are musicians. And so how you create music is from silent, and how you create masculine embodiment is from that place of not knowing necessarily. And so I encourage anyone out there that's listening right now to look at masculine embodiment facilitation that Andrew is showing you, the training, the certification. And who knows what's available. As Andrew even shared earlier, he had a moment to choose, right? You have those moments in life. It's like, do I get to cross that threshold? Do I get to, find my edge and say, ooh, this feels stretchy to me, but it's doable, and I'm going to go for it anyway, despite of, oh, well, I'm stuck into the way my grandfather used to do things or my father. And I feel there's this refreshing, this like reimagining of a world, really. That's what I love about your logo here too, is the roots from the earth and this whole other paradigm that's available to grow and expand. It's so funny too. We always, this culture, especially in the West, we're all about superhero movies, watching it, but like, what does it take for us to choose to be the superheroes of our own lives, right? So it's really powerful. So I'd love to hear question 4 here. So what is it, the results and the kind of testimonials, what are students sharing with you that have worked with you, whether it's a prior program, teaching, of course, I can share real fast because I got to witness you when you were teaching drums and music at the high school that I used to teach at. And it was so wonderful how magnetic your energy and your presence was. And you got so many kids that were interacting, even those kids are like, I'm too cool for school. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to play, the drums on the bottom of a bucket. And you got everyone involved. And it was such a wonderful way to witness you and to see you teach yoga. And I've been a part of some of the courses you did for the Jedi training. Remember dropping in on some of those, and it's really wonderful to witness you. And so how is it that students share with you? What are some of the main takeaways?
Yeah, well, in the years past, my students have experienced rapid growth in interpersonal areas in their life. So a man who, from the vow that he took in our program, he was able to get off of drugs, and he had been doing a lot of work around that. It was the container of this particular 7-week program that gave him the confidence and gave him the support, accountability that he needed to finally kick drugs. And he literally just got married last week into his dream woman, and he's still clean, and he still, talks about that. So, and that's also been, my journey with men's work, is men's work has given me the support that I needed to clean up my act as well. Men have talked about how this work opens their heart to a point where they've been able to save their marriages. Past clients, I have a past client who was 8 years away from the golden watch and retiring from this big pharma job, and came to the realization that he didn't want to retire, and he didn't want 8 more years in his job, and had the courage and the guts to say no more, no thank you, and to do the courageous work of finding another position with another company. And now he's like head vulnerability coach at another big corporation. He has the job of his dreams. And now I'm doing more. My clients are men who are creating their careers in men's work and becoming masculine embodiment facilitators. And these men are experiencing sold out group programs. They are, creating wealth for themselves and their families and getting out of debt. They are, impacting their clients on a deeper level, helping their clients save their marriages, helping their clients, get out, stop being alcoholics, helping their clients, get clear, create daily practices, create healthy eating rituals. So my students now are, are creating transformational programming and taking men on journeys, deeper, active, more potent ways than ever before. Talking about fathers reconnecting with their sons. We're talking about sons reconnecting with their brothers. We're talking about incredible breakthroughs, healing breakthroughs for these men on so many different fronts. And it's really, truly an honor to witness this. And it brings me so much joy to be able to help men to create their most aligned career path and most serviceful path.
Aho. Love that. And some of the photos that I got to share here.
In short, there's no end to the possibilities of what men's work can bring you as a man. Sit in a circle, join a program, go on a retreat. Like, it's endless. It's endless the possibilities of what you can experience in men's work.
Yeah, and on your website, which everyone can see that's scrolling below, Masculine Embodiment, you can see how there's a testimonial by Zach and how he really had a huge impact, saved his marriage, simply quit drinking, and really through his lockdown experience really gave him that hope and that courageousness to step from a part-time to the full-time facilitation of men. So that's wonderful. And one thing that I want to talk about is in 2020, I was a part of a men's group, and for me, it was that paradigm shift. And a lot of men that are listening right now, or boys, or whatever age you are, it's really powerful when you are in a space of being heard, being supported, and truly being held in all the ways. And it, for me as well, got me to a place to feel that I'm not alone. And that's one of the biggest core traumatic wounds that a lot of people feel is like, I'm not going to fit in. I'm all by myself. I'm not going to be accepted. I'm not going to be a part of the tribe. And that goes like deep, right? That's psychology to the furthest core of the fear. And so when there's men around the world, as Andrew, you're creating these beautiful containers and these opportunities for support and safety and self-expression. It's such a powerful element. So with that all said, when is your next event for anyone that is inspired by what you've been sharing today? How can people stay connected, and what are you offering?
Yeah, so I'm launching the Masculine Embodiment Facilitator. Enrollment is open. This is a training and certification, 6 months long. It's 2 months of deep inner work and reprogramming around career, around money, around service. And then it's 2 months of facilitation training. So all of the protocols, tools, and skills that you need to be able to serve men. It's trauma informed by a psychologist, and we have a beautiful and diverse group of faculty members who are co-facilitating. And then it culminates in a weekend experience where we go super deep and find the parts of ourselves, find the heroes within ourselves, and then we create our men's group, our men's program, our men's curriculum. Each one of you will create your own curriculum, and then we launch that out to the world. And it comes with one-on-one mentorship. It comes, of course, with the group support, accountability, the calls, the facilitation training protocol guidebook, and then you're certified to facilitate men and to help them heal and to help them reveal their light as well. So that launches, that the first day of class is April 6th, and there are still a few spots left on that. You can go to masculineembodiment.com and apply there if you're interested, and then we'll get on a call and we'll see if that's a good fit for you. And I'm also offering a free webinar next week as well. So an info spin and kind of just like a behind the scenes look at the industry of work and what are some possible plans, 3 possible business plans for stepping into this line of work. I recognize that this is kind of it's kind of a burgeoning and new industry, so to speak. And so part of my work is to educate the world that this is even a possible line of work. I remember the first time I learned I can be a facilitator. A facilitator is a job. Interesting. Yeah. So this is me sharing with the world my journey and what I've learned from guiding men into create their own men's work businesses, and sharing some tidbits, some helpful nuggets of wisdom, and the 3 keys that you need in order to be prosperous in this business. Because if there's anything that is apparent, it's that the healers, the teachers, the facilitators, they need business help. And the businessmen, they need healing. And so there's this balance, this marriage that I'm calling in. We need more business savvy healers, and we need more heart-centered leaders and businessmen. And so this is a very good balance. This career is a very good balance in that, and this training is very much dedicated to striking that balance as well. So if you want to show up, that's a 90-minute free webinar. That's next Wednesday evening. There's a link that's in the that's below in the chat, and you can feel free to sign up for that and show up and learn what this industry is about. And then if you're interested from there, then we can chat.
I love that. Yes, and for me, that has later in life really been discovering the power of having powerful men in your lives, and know that just because we have a story about how our father used to be with us, the good, the bad, the ugly, how our grandfather was, there's this whole lineage, right? And there's a lot of rites of passage that have completely almost just not been a part of the paradigm for a lot of men in the West specifically. And one of the things I've learned as a world language teacher is, you look at different cultures, and the Incans and the Mayan and the Aztec, and there's, of course, all the indigenous tribes of North America. And it just feels to me a lot of times there's like this, what was missing, like where, and a lot of us, let's face it, Andrew, we know this, we have all this competitive energy. Like, I'm going to crush you, I'm going to kill you, and do this. And it's like, you just obliterate each other and blast each other, make fun of each other, kid around all the time, where then there's a lack of safety. There's a lack of growth and expansion, because, you can't expand or grow unless you're in a safe place. If you're always looking over your back, you can't really do anything except have worry and fear and trauma consistently in your energetic field. So what I love, and I'm going to show a picture for everyone to see, is the true like energy that is shared and connected with. And I will tell everyone here that even though there's an online opportunity that's not the in-person, I have been blown away by what's available when you are online connected in people's energetic field. You can still hold support, you can still connect in really powerful ways. And so if you've already been in a group like this, then you understand, as I'm sharing my testimonial, of what's available. So I just want to kind of bust any myths out there of, oh, I'm going to only wait until something like this is in person. The time is now to really jump into this. Anything to say about that, Andrew?
Yeah, thank you for that. Well, we're about to see a huge blossoming and coming out of hibernation like we've never seen before, and the need for connection and healing and brotherhood is so present right now. And so, yeah, now is the time. There's been a huge shakeup and a huge shift in the paradigm of things, and there's never going to be a better time to really claim this shift in your life. I will say that what we do in the online space is incredibly potent, and it actually, in some ways, I think effective than in person, because it forces you to drop to your own self in your own world, rather than like what we do in the West is like, oh, I want to feel like connected. I'm going to go to this yoga studio and go to this teacher. And then we go get juiced up there, but come back to our, and it's like, oh, well, I'm back in my real life now. So I actually really, I prefer working in the online space. It's just more efficient. Nobody has to travel.
Yes. All over the world.
In the seat, in the chair, in the room where all your biggest challenges are, and do the work there. I also want to say the other piece that you brought, which is about, it's to me, masculinity is about respect. You mentioned like as, and so I just want to take a moment to respect the ancient traditions that have kept this tradition of men's work safe. And a lot of it is based in Native American, ideology. It comes from Western psychology. Some of it comes from, more of like a tribal belief set. Some of it's military. And so I just want to bless and thank all of the men who have been keeping this lineage sacred. And I also want to bless the original land keepers here in Bend, Oregon, who are the Paiute, and acknowledge that we're on borrowed land, and that's a part of this work as well, is accepting our privilege and owning our privilege and giving thanks to those who have come before us. And yeah, it's really about just finding this reverence, the reverent masculine. And the last year, we've witnessed such wounded masculine behavior in the leaders of our country and of this world. And that's a big part of what has inspired this work right now, is we need to find a new paradigm, that the new paradigm of power. And there were some dark times where I was like, in tears, like, who is the good king? Where is the good king that we can trust, that we can turn to, that has that healthy energy? Because they're not on the blue team or the red team. That's made itself abundantly clear right now, is that that's not where we can go anymore to look for positive examples of masculinity. And so that's a piece now. We're training to be the mentors and the fathers and the grandfathers of the future.
Aho, brother. Love that. Thank you. And honoring absolutely where we've come from, where we are now, where we're going. There's a whole experience that I've been sharing too, of where we get to learn whatever we choose to learn from those leaders. And sometimes we learn how not to lead. And that's like blatantly clear in the world. And sometimes you need the bad examples to know, okay, you're being called into action. As you said, Andrew, sometimes you need to be in the muck, be in the tears, be in the crap. And then it's like you're just in the cocoon and you're metamorphosizing into this brand new expression of possibilities. One thing that you had on your website I want to put up here, which I love, is if you have a unique gift, it is your duty to cultivate it and share it with the world. Wow. Any last words for us, Andrew?
Yeah. In relation to that, when we do archetypal embodiment, we look at the archetypes of masculine, and we look at what it means to truly embody the king, because that's what we're all being asked to do right now. The king has gone on his battle. The king has suffered and been in the dark night of his world, and made it back into the light, to be the king. And most of the time, the king, a real king, he doesn't want to be the king. He doesn't want the responsibility. He doesn't want the pain and the heaviness and the duty. But he is chosen to do that. And the biggest disgrace is the king who doesn't accept the crown. If you don't accept your calling to step into your power, if you don't take the responsibility and the honor to be a servant of the people, you are just as much to blame for what's going on in this world than the person who's ignorant, or the person who is, who isn't fully, showing up in their life. So if you've got gold, if you've got medicine, if you've got love and you're holding it back, you are called. You are being called forward to show up, to step into it. It's hard work. It's really hard work to become a facilitator, to become a coach. It's scary and it takes a lot of energy. But wouldn't you rather expend your energy building the life of your dreams, doing work that is meaningful to you, than spend and burn your energy worrying that you're wasting your life away living someone else's dream? You've called. If you've been called, you know it. Heed the call. We need you. We need every powerful, intelligent, loving, attuned man. We need the men who are just following in their father's footsteps because they don't know what else. We need them. We need the lawyers. We need the doctors. We need the politicians. We need all men to be doing this vulnerable leadership training so that we can rewrite masculinity so that it actually is coming from and into place. Let's do this.
Yes, yes. So amazing. Thank you, Andrew, for your leadership, for you choosing to pay it forward and share those gifts that you've been able to receive, and to really combine your life's work into this training and this certification program. So anyone out there, masculineembodiment.com, go there. You can also look into the comments, and I've placed the link to the free webinar. That's 3 keys to launching your prosperous men's work career. We'd love to see you sign up for that. And thanks again, Andrew, for your time, your energy, your leadership, your dedication for the divine masculine. And my good friend Tracy, heed the call. Love it. Good stuff. Powerful being, Tracy. I interviewed her recently on all of her amazing gifts in the world. And so I just want to acknowledge how honored I am to be in your presence, Andrew, and to see you as a powerful husband, father, friend, soul brother, fellow musician, producer. There's so many ways that you show up, and that's what it's about, as you were saying earlier. For those men that are knowing that they're not showing up, knowing they're playing a small game, there's always this other world that's available, and a lot of times we simply need a helping hand. We need someone there to say, "You got this. We got your back." And so, masculineembodiment.com. Check it out also on Instagram, all of the places and spaces that you can find Andrew. Thanks again. And we look forward to hearing how the course develops and grows. And as I think this is our second of our interview series that we've done. So I look forward to the next time. You're always up to great work in the world.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for holding this space. Thanks for sharing this message with your platform.
You're welcome. All right. Thank you again.